All right, it is time to talk about De'Aaron Fox. So I think he's one of the sneakiest and biggest investments I think people can make in his sports cards, particularly his rookie cards, to make possibly 5 to maybe even 10x the amount of money on his cards within the next couple years. So De'Aaron Fox is a point guard for the Sacramento Kings, drafted in 2017. He is a rising star. I think when people think of the 2017 draft class, they think of Jason Tatum and Donovan Mitchell. Those are great and phenomenal players, and these guys will probably be in the MVP conversation for years to come. And at least one of them will probably earn an MVP. My bet is Jason Tatum. However, De'Aaron Fox is extremely underrated and extremely undervalued. And I think the Sacramento Kings won't make the playoffs this year. And I think during the playoffs and the offseason, his cards are going to be super low. They're going to probably tank. And he is getting better every single year. Yes, he plays in Sacramento. Yes, there's other California teams such as the Lakers, such as the Clippers, and the Golden State Warriors. But the truth of the matter is, Golden State Warriors aren't going to win a championship again, unless, honestly, this sounds crazy, unless they trade Stephen Curry, because they're not going to have enough players and assets to really build for them to win a championship, unless they get lucky in the draft. And the Clippers, if Kawhi Leonard leaves and he goes to Knicks or somewhere, it doesn't matter. They're not going to win a championship. And LeBron is getting older, and Anthony Davis is injury prone. So sounds strange, but Gary Vaynerchuk also owns a lot of De'Aaron Fox cards. It's a small percentage of the total amount of cards he owns because most of them are vintage. But I think he's on to something again. So De'Aaron Fox is averaging career highs in points per game, so at 24.4 points per game. And then also he is doing, you can argue that he is doing well on defensive end as well, over 1.4 block and 1.4 steals and 0.5 blocks. His assists are going up to an all-time high. He is shooting decent from the free throw line. He is shooting over 32% from three-point range, and he's improving every single year. So the issue in the past was they didn't think he was going to be a star, but he's definitely showing that he is developing into a star player, and his cards are cheaper than what they should be. And I see him breaking out just from his trajectory and how he's improving, how aggressive he is on the court, how much of an all-around player, because he's a playmaker, he's great in defense, and he can score the basketball, and he can shoot the three. So he is constantly getting better, and he's generally on the court. He's very rarely hurt. Last year he was hurt, and that threw the Kings off. And this year's just been the last couple years have been just a strange year for everyone. So he is very undervalued because his base Prism cards is a very low pop. It's definitely under Jason Tatum's and Donovan Mitchell's pop count. And his card is about $250 for PSA 10 base Prism. His silvers are going up a little bit more than that. His optic hollow is around $400, and which seems expensive, but I think for a player of his caliber, and I think he's going to be that third guy in the draft class, and as time goes on, you may be seeing, a Russell Westbrook that can shoot, or another player similar to that as far as potential and what they're doing on the court. So you have that, but also he's playing phenomenal, but also the Sacramento Kings have Tyler Hansborough, who's, after maybe a few months from now, when people are focused on the playoffs, is a good idea to buy Tyrese Halliburton, because he is going to be a star in this league. The only player that may be better than him is is LaMelo Ball. However, LaMelo Ball is more of the flashier type of guy. I don't think his style of play is gonna produce very many wins. For Tyrese Halliburton, I see him being a true star. Not necessarily saying he's going to be LeBron James or anything. Maybe be something more similar to a Paul George or something similar to a Jason Tatum. But I think that's enough with De'Aaron Fox can make them common in the playoffs. They still have to get a few more pieces, but if they trade Morgan Bagley, I think they can get a pretty good haul. But I think people are seriously sleeping on him, and he's going to be a superstar. And I'm making this video probably a year in advance, but I'm gonna replay this video to let you know I told you so. And I mean, there are other players that people could look at. I mean, obviously Donovan Mitchell's cards are cheaper than what they should be. You can argue Jason Tatum cards. Generally, basketball from 2017 to 2019 are cheaper than what they should be because everybody went through this GOAT craze, and now that's died down. Even 1986 Fleer cards, I mean, Moses Malone cards, especially a BGS 9.5, are basically back at the same prices that they were at before the boost in basically all vintage cards. So everything's coming down, and it's actually time to probably buy cards for the playoffs, or guys you think are going to go into the playoffs, and really sell them a few weeks or a month before, and then start buying up the vintage cards. I think that's really the best move to make. If you disagree, obviously comment below, and yeah, subscribe if you want to hear more.